Class of 2027, in this video, I want to introduce you to Wofford College's databases. I'm not going to introduce you to all but one, but I want to introduce you to the idea of databases. We have over 200 of them. And as I mentioned in the video about Wofford OneSearch, you can go to Wofford OneSearch to search all 200 databases simultaneously. A remarkable opportunity there to get the best resources from a variety of databases pertaining to a variety of disciplines. But there may be instances when you want to look at a database that's devoted to a particular discipline, say psychology, as I shall use as an example in just a minute. If you were to go to Wofford OneSearch and search, say, the topic social media, you would get articles about the political aspects, the governmental aspects, the social aspects, the psychological aspects, the educational and economic aspects. But if you went to a database devoted to psychology, you would be looking only at the psychological aspects of the topic you were searching. A database, what is it? To put it simply, a database is a collection of resources. It could be a collection of journal articles, newspaper articles, books, streaming videos, primary source materials such as journals and diaries and firsthand or first eyewitness accounts and photographs. Or it can be a collection of images of art objects. We have a database called ArtStore that consists of images of art objects from around the world. So I'm going to go to our library's homepage, and I'm going to go to the central search box we had used before to search Wofford OneSearch and Pascal Delivers. Only this time I'm going to use that box to search our databases. So here you have the central box. You've got Wofford OneSearch in the top left-hand corner. That's the default search, but you can click on Pascal or Archives and Special Collections, or this fourth tab, Database plus Journal Finder. And that's what we're going to select here, Database plus Journal Finder. And you see that you actually have two search boxes in one. You can search a database by title where it says search for databases. If you already know the title of the database you need access, you simply type the title in and you go right to that database. And down below here, if you're looking for a particular journal or a particular newspaper, you simply type in the title of that journal or newspaper and go right to its full text. We're concentrating on databases. So I'm imagining for a little while here that we do not know the title of any particular database in psychology. And so if we wanted to find the best databases for psychology, we would stay in this central search box. We would click on databases A to Z and by subject at the bottom here. And by clicking on databases A to Z and by subject, we would pull up an A to Z list of all of our databases. So if you happen to remember the letter that the title of the database starts with, you could click on that letter and go to all of the databases we have starting with that letter in their titles. So if I were to click, say, on J, I would bring up Jewish Studies Source, a database devoted to Jewish studies and Judaism. Or I would have the option of clicking here on JSTOR. JSTOR, you may know of already. It's one of the most prominent databases. It's interdisciplinary. No matter what discipline you're coming from, you're likely to find something of merit in JSTOR. But back to our example, we're trying to find the best databases for psychology. So I can come up to this drop-down menu in the top left-hand corner here. It says All Subjects. I click on that downward arrow, and I get a list of all of the departments or majors or disciplines, call them what you will, here at Wofford. And so I see anthropology, Arabic, biology, chemistry, criminal justice. The list goes on and on. But if I scroll down here, I will see here are the 15 databases that we identify as being very useful for psychology. And so if I click on psychology, I go to that list of 15 databases. And note that we may have 15 databases that are good for psychology, but we have 4 that are identified as best bets here at the top. The best bets are those databases that are devoted to psychology or that are predominantly given to the discipline of psychology. So we've got Medline with full text, psych articles, psychology and behavioral sciences collection, and PsycInfo. I'm going to take PsycInfo as an example here. This best bets section tells me that PsycInfo is the largest resource devoted to peer-reviewed literature, in other words, scholarly literature, in behavioral science and mental health. This database indexes scholarly journal articles, book chapters, books, and dissertations. So you're talking about a great variety of resources, not just journal articles. And it indexes or provides the full text of these resources from the 1800s to present, which is a remarkable breadth with regard to digitization to make that many years of resources available full text online. So I'm going to click here on PsycInfo. It is arguably the best database for psychology. I click on PsycInfo, and I bring up prompts asking me for my Walford credentials. Remember, you as a Walford student have access to all of our electronic resources from anywhere in the world simply by using your My Walford credentials. So I'm now being asked for a security code. I ask that it be sent to me via text. So I'm now typing in this number from my phone, 363075. I say verify, and I go right into the database PsycInfo. Here at the top, you sometimes see the name of the company or the commercial enterprise that is responsible for this database, in this case, EBSCOhost. Here's the title of the database. It says APA PsycInfo, American Psychological Association is what APA stands for. Sometimes that's inserted in front of PsycInfo. Here's the central search box, and I can start typing in. I could type in, for instance, social media, and start searching right away from that central search box. But I'm going to pause to do that. I'm going to show you the filters of this database, and then I'm going to go back up to the top of the screen here to show you the way students prefer or tell me they prefer to search this database rather than using that one search box there. So as I scroll down, I'm going to see filters that are identical or very, very similar to Walford One searches. Remember, you have in Walford One Search a means, as you have here in the left-hand column, to limit your search just to full text or online resources. I'm going to unclick that. Here, you're being asked, do you want to exclude dissertations? Students tell us that they want them excluded by default, so we exclude them, but you can add them to your search simply by unclicking exclude dissertations. I'm going to leave it clicked on. Here, peer-reviewed, if you want, you can click peer-reviewed, and you're looking now only at peer-reviewed resources. This database has a wealth of journal articles, and virtually all of them are peer-reviewed. So you can click that, but know that virtually all of the journal articles here are peer-reviewed. Then in the right-hand column here, I've got the publication year, and you can type in, say, 2010 to 2023, and limit your search to that 10 to 13 year period, as we had the opportunity to do in Walford One Search. But as I scroll down and look at the remaining filters in the right-hand column, I start noticing filters that are distinct. These are filters that would be very, very useful to you as a psychology major. So let's start with the one on top, age groups. You can limit your search to resources about specific age groups: childhood, neonatal, adolescence, adulthood, middle age, aged, very old. I didn't go over all of them, just some. Then you come down to this population group. Do you want to search all populations, human and animal? Do you want to limit specifically to human, animal? If you're looking at human, do you want to look at male, transgender, or female? And then finally, you have the option of looking at subjects who are inpatient or outpatient. And then methodology, this is, I would argue, the most popular filter in this database for psychology again. You could identify the methodology you want your articles or your resources to use. Sometimes your professor will specify the type of methodology that you are to go looking for. But here you can say clinical case study, clinical trial, empirical study, longitudinal study, just to give you some examples. So there very quickly is a fine example of a database's use of filters specific to a discipline. I'm going to go back up to the top of the screen here. And remember, you can start typing in that box, the keywords you want to search, but this is the way students tell me they prefer to do it. You click here on advanced search, and you get these multiple boxes as you have in a Walford One search. These boxes help you keep things neat or orderly. And so you can add one search term per box. You have this plus icon here. You can click on that to add as many boxes as you care to. I'm going to use an example from an actual research consultation I had recently. The student came and said, "Hey, Tim, I'm interested in work on social media." Now, he and I later limited the search we added to this search, Facebook or Twitter. We could limit to a specific form of social media. But the student initially wanted to throw a large net. He wanted to look at all of social media. So we left social media alone and we ran a search. And we got back 38,900 results. And so the student said, "Tim, I am interested in social media as they concern college students." And so we typed in college students, or started to, and notice that this database is proposing or suggesting other phrases to use either in place of or in addition to college students. So we see here college athletes, but I pointed out this phrase to the student. You can search college students or university students or graduates to throw a larger net than you would throw if you were looking just for college students. So that is the phrase we selected for the second box. And the student, then we ran that search. We go from 38,900 to 2,257. And then the student said, "Tim, I want one more phrase. I want to look at self-esteem in the context of social media." And notice the database, again, is offering additional terms. So we selected self-esteem or self-concept or self-worth or self-evaluation or self-perception to get all of those phrases added to our search. We run that search now, and we come to 193 results. So I wanted to show you here, as we saw in the last video with Walford One Search, how you can add keywords and quickly narrow your results to those you're specifically interested in. You can end up with a set of results that is manageable, in this case, 193. At this point, the student elected to apply filters. We came over here to this date field, and he said, "Tim, I really don't want to look at anything published before 2010. And so we went from 190 some results to 169. And then he came down here to these filters that are specific to psychology. And he said, "Tim, as far as age group, I want to look at young adult 18 to 29. We applied that filter. We're down to 77 results. He said methodology. He says, "Tim, I want to do a longitudinal study." And so we're now down to 2 results. We are searching our terms. We're limiting to the last 13 years of research, to the age group 18 to 29 years old, and to the methodology longitudinal study. Now, these 2 results here, notice that this first one is available HTML and PDF. If you ever have the option between the 2, go with the PDF. It's a scan of the article as it originally appeared. The page numbers in the PDF will be just like those in the original document. If you go with the HTML, it's likely that that document has been reformatted, so the page numbers may not match up with those of the original article. Before I go to the article, let me click here on the title of this article to show you the information that this database, PsycInfo, is providing for the article. It gives you all of the authors' names. It tells you which academic institutes or which research institutes they are associated with. It also gives their email addresses. Should you read the article and have some questions you might entertain, reaching out to one or some of the authors to ask them questions about their work. You have here keywords, and you could use those keywords to run searches in this database to find articles related to this one or similar to this one. And then here you have an abstract or summary telling you what the article is about. And notice that this database highlights in the abstract all of the phrases that we had searched as keywords, letting you know how likely it is that this journal article is going to have something on the topics you had searched. So just a wealth of information here. I'm going to now go to this left-hand column, click on PDF to bring up the article. And then I can download, and I may want to say social media article 1. I can say that to the desktop. I now have this PDF to use on my desktop, where I could attach it to an email to share with a lab partner. But here you've got the PDF, and you have the features as you would expect in a scholarly article: the abstract, the introduction, information about the methods used, discussion of the results, then a conclusion, and then here at the end, the references or the list of resources that this article is built on. Great way, again, to have this research team do your research for you, to use its references list. You'll notice that a lot of these articles are hot linked. That's because these are articles available full text in PsycInfo, or they may be available open access. So this bibliography or this references list will have resources that you can click on to go right to. Remember, in Walford OneSearch, if we had brought up this article, Walford OneSearch would have enabled you to see all of these resources displayed in Walford OneSearch to access. Okay, folks, there very quickly is a database, in this case, a database devoted to psychology. Let me show you one more thing that students love, or a couple of things they love. Over here in the right-hand column, you have this cite feature. You have a permalink. You could email yourself a permalink to this article. Again, these are features similar to those we saw in Walford OneSearch. Let me back up here one more screen. This is the original display of our results. Notice here in the right-hand corner, you have the drop-down menu Share. If you click on that, you have at the bottom of this box the Use Permalink option. You can highlight that and email that, or you can click here on Email Alert. Email that link to yourself or to a partner, and when you bring that up and click on it, you'll be prompted for your My Walford credentials, but you'll go into this search in PsycInfo, constructed exactly as you had constructed it before. Same search terms, same filters. And the partner you're emailing it to, because he or she's a Walford student, will have immediate access to this article using his or her My Walford credentials. Okay? So there, very quickly, is an example of a database devoted to a discipline that enables you to search articles in ways that are most specific or appropriate for that discipline. I'm going to go back to our library's homepage. And here's the central search box. And again, if I was looking for database, I would click on Database plus Journal Finder. Before, I didn't know the title of our database, so I clicked on Databases A to Z and by subject to bring up a list of databases by subject, in our case, psychology. But let's imagine now that we know the title of the database that's so prominent in psychology. It's PsycInfo. So we would simply come to this Search for Databases box, type in PsycInfo, click Search, and go right to that database. and we would click here on PsycInfo and be in to start our searching. So folks, there in quick summary is what Walford offers in way of databases. You will find databases of increasing importance to you as you take higher and higher level classes and as you go deeper and deeper into a discipline when you really need to search things discriminately or with a fine-tooth comb. In our next video, our last video, I'm going to be talking about the academic commons. And the academic commons is a phrase that refers to the library and its partners. And the partners of the library are the Writing Center, peer tutoring, and accessibility services. Some years ago, the college, Walford, decided that it wanted to bring all of these services together under one roof for your convenience so that you could go to one space on campus and get anything serious or academic done with efficiency. And so these groups are working and communicating together in support of you. So I'll be seeing you shortly in your classes. In the meanwhile, take care.